Welcome to Boru Nation Board Games. Today is my first in a series of how to play videos. Today, we'll be going over Mistborn, the deck building game. Designed by John D. Clare, this game benefits from the development efforts of Hayden Dillard, the art of Johnny O'Neill and Katie Payne, and the graphic design of Stephanie Gustafsson. We'll be going over both the 4-player competitive variant of the game and the cooperative setup. This deck builder, published by Brotherwise Games, excellently captures the thematics of being a Mistborn. In the world of Mistborn, Allomancers can ingest and burn metals to achieve superhuman feats, pewter for super strength, zinc to riot the emotions of others, or bronze to seek out other active Allomancers. This ability is represented by your allotment of metal tokens on your player board. Thematically true to the source material, these are divided into pushing and pulling pairs. Now, each player board features the allotment of 8 metals, each thematically described, and a training track. This tracks your progress as you become more proficient with your Mistborn abilities, and grants you the ability to burn more than 1 metal on your turn, access to character abilities, and some precious ATM. Your player area also features your starting deck, your character card, and your health dial. In a 3 to 4 player competitive game, the last player will also have the target standee. Next, we have the market deck, which feeds the market row. Cards in this deck builder are generally divided into 2 categories: allies and action cards. Action cards have a name, a cost, a medal, 1 or 2 abilities, and a vial. Ally cards have a name, a cost, 1 or 2 abilities, and a health value. Ally cards, when played, remain in your play area until eliminated, at which point they then return to the discard pile. ATM and boxing tokens are placed in a general supply near the market area. There are also mission objective cards, which track various objectives players may complete in pursuit of victory. Finally, for the solo cooperative version of the game, the Lord Ruler card sits atop his dominance track. Next to the Lord Ruler is his health dial, his 8 Lord Ruler cubes, and his challenge deck of 36 cards. Each player places a game board and a randomly selected character card face up on their play area in front of them. They then place their allotment of 8 metal tokens onto the indicated positions on their player board. Each player takes 1 colored player cube and places it on the first position of their training track. To finish out your player area, each player has a health tracker that sits near their character card. Finally, each player builds their starting deck with 6 funding cards and 4 training cards. The training cards are tied to each character, with the names visible in the bottom left of each card, here. You take the starting deck and you place it in the bottom left of your player area. Next, we have the market deck and market row. The market row is populated with the 6 top cards of the market deck and goes in the center of the play area. Next to the market deck go the general supplies of ATM tokens and boxing tokens. Each token is a one-time use, so spend it carefully. Across the market row from the market deck is the elimination pile. The elimination pile is essentially the deck of cards that have been eliminated or removed from the game. There are very few cards in this deck builder that interact with the elimination pile. As a last step of competitive setup, we will randomly select 3 mission objective cards from the total deck of 8. Each player will place 1 of their colored cubes on the images of each of the mission tracks. To wrap up the solo cooperative variant of the game, we then take the Lord Ruler, set him out on his dominance track. Next to him, we place his health dial, his 8 Lord Ruler cubes, and his challenge deck of 36 cards. That's it, you're set up to play the game. I suppose it might be helpful to know how to play the game. That is why I'm making the video. In the competitive variant of the game, a player wins by being the first to reach the top of all 3 mission objective cards, eliminating all of their players, or by playing the confrontation card with 4 ATM. To win the solo cooperative variant of the game, you must get the Lord Ruler down to 0 health, or play the confrontation card with 4 ATM. As a sample starting turn, I might have 3 funding cards and 2 training cards. To activate the abilities of one of the training cards, I must burn a medal by transferring the medal token from my player board to the card itself. If I wanted to activate my second ability, I would have to flare a medal by flipping that token as I transferred it from my player board to the card. This setup gives me 1 mission progress, 2 coins, and 2 damage. The mission point allows me to move up any mission track of my choice. The coins from my abilities and funding cards allow me to purchase cards from the market row or boxings in any combination. Note that if I purchase a card from the market row, it is immediately refreshed, meaning that I get to see the next card before making my decision. Finally, the combat value indicates the amount of damage I can deal on my turn. First, I assign damage to any allies that I would like to eliminate. All remaining damage is then assigned to the player with the target standee. If you're the player with the target standee, first you assign damage to any allies that you would like to eliminate, and all remaining damage is dealt in full to all other players. Later in the game, you'll have a healthy mix of abilities and effects to activate on your turn. In general, I would always recommend activating effects in this order: training, healing, mission progress, purchasing, damage. This flow should allow for the smoothest use of your cards, meaning you don't miss out on any effects because of card order. For example, turns where training activates an additional burnable medal or a character ability can critically impact the way you spend the resources on your turn. I've put the recommended turn order on an infographic on the screen, and a link to an image below that you can print out and keep as a player aid. The cards themselves have very clear iconography and all the text required for play. Now, let's go over the solo and cooperative features that come in the base game box. You and your friends are now taking on the Lord Ruler, a nigh deific figure looming over the world of Mistborn. This fight is excruciatingly difficult, and you will have to pull out all the stops in order to be successful. In this game mode, setup and gameplay are mostly the same, with just a couple of exceptions. In terms of gameplay differences, you can no longer attack allies or other players, and the target standee is no longer required. Instead, all damage must be directed either to the Lord Ruler or his attendants, also called Adversaries. Missions are no longer game-winning objectives, but rather severely impact the Lord Ruler's ability to heal himself. Finally, the Lord Ruler now takes 1 turn after every player turn. After a player's turn, they flip over the top card of the Lord Ruler's challenge deck, which can either be an adversary or an edict. An adversary is immediately put into play in the player's area and has a persistent effect until eliminated. Each adversary has a number of shields that must be eliminated from left to right, each with a health value depicted on it. If you have enough damage on your turn, you can eliminate all the shields at once. If you don't, simply cover any destroyed shields with one of the black ruler cubes. Cards that have the kill an ally effect can eliminate 1 shield from an adversary. Edicts represent the Lord Ruler's will, and card effects must be completed from top to bottom. Dominance effects will raise the Lord Ruler up on his dominance track. Some cards have additional effects with text explaining it on the card itself. X's here have a value provided by the dominance tracker, and anytime it says the word collectively, players may choose to distribute that effect however they see fit. The Lord Ruler will heal based on the number of uncompleted mission objectives. Finally, the Lord Ruler will eliminate cards from the market row. Note that these cards are immediately refreshed. The solo cooperative variation of the game ends in failure if all players' health is reduced to 0 or the challenge deck runs out of cards, indicating that the players have run out of time to overthrow the final empire. A cooperative game ends in victory if the Lord Ruler's health is reduced to 0, or if a single player plays the confrontation card with 4 ATM. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, all the things. It really does help the channel grow. If there's another game that you want to know how to play, but don't have quite the motivation to read the rulebook, let me know and I'll see if I can help. If you're interested in more Boru Nation content, feel free to stop by my live streams on Twitch and on YouTube. That's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you again here at the Boru Nation. Number 2. Hello friends, my name's Brian. Welcome to Ball Nation, land of the free games. You see, if you're part of the Ball Nation, you are superb. You are simply superior to other beings. That's just how it works. I didn't write the rules. Just kidding, I did write the rules, and I wrote that one in special.